Hello, it's Renee Photography here, and today we're going to be talking about how to edit dogs' eyes. Sometimes it can come a little bit lacking in brightness or overall contrast and sharpness. So I'm going to teach you a few tricks in Photoshop on how I like to edit my dog's eyes. So to start, you're going to have your first layer here, and I always duplicate it every time that you're going to start a new layer. So before I even touch the eyes, I like to sharpen the image overall by using the high pass filter. So you just click on filter and you'll go other and then high pass. So if you bring it down, you can see you can barely see the dog at all. And if you go all the way up, it's like way too much. So you kind of want to find a spot in the middle. I like to pull it through just when you see that kind of halo around the dog. I like to bring it down just a couple notches before that. Probably 14. Yeah, that's good there. And then what I like to do is convert this to, you can do either do overlay or soft light, depending on how harsh you want the dog's details brought out. So overlay is going to be more harsh and soft light is going to be a little bit lighter. I like to run on soft light. So once you've created the high pass layer mask, you'll notice that it is affecting the entire image. And we don't necessarily want that. We want the focus to be just on the dog. So how I like to do a quick, easy way of doing that is click on the quick select tool here. Make sure it's on the quick select. And then select subject. And then click on your mask with the high pass layer, which is here. And then click the little layer mask icon at the bottom. And what that does is it gets rid of the background as part of your layer and only selects the dog. And you can adjust the opacity on this as well. 100% might be a bit too much. I typically run it 50, anywhere from 40 to 60%. 50 is a good even amount. Once I do that, I then run a almost like a dodge and burn type thing. So I hit Alt and then hit the little new layer icon. And I'll call this contour. And you want to make sure it's set to overlay. And then check the fill with neutral color gray. That's it. And you'll take your brush tool, so hit the letter B on the keyboard, or select the little paintbrush tool here. Make sure it's set on the brush tool. Then you're going to zoom in, and you're going to adjust your brush opacity to about 20%. Now you're only going to focus on the areas of the dog's eyes that are very specifically dark and very specifically bright or white. So what I like to do is just like to brush in those areas a little bit. I don't like to go too much because if you go multiple times over, even at 20% opacity can sometimes be a bit overwhelming. Just like that. And then for the blacks, you'll just revert it. So it's on white right now. So you'll just click this little thing here and then it'll go to black. And then you'll do the same thing. So just on the darker parts of the eye, I sometimes go up here a little bit and then right in this crevice down here. If you notice some spots are a little bit too bright and you're like, oh, like I noticed this right eye may be a bit too bright, you can always knock down the opacity on the contour as well. So you can knock it down to probably like 60%. Is a good amount where it's just brightening the eye just a little bit, but it's not super overwhelming. And then to finish off the eyes, I like to add separate layers for each part that you're going to edit. So for example, the highlights, I'll do one. The darker center on the eye, I'll do separate. And then this little lighter area down here, I'll do on another layer. So for now, I'll just call this highlight. You'll take the brush tool, make sure it's selected on white. And your opacity is at 100%. And then I like to just go in and just do a quick little brush like that. And then I'll set it to screen. I will take my eraser. So hit E on the keyboard or select the little eraser tool over here. And then I like to make my brush super big and the opacity roughly around 40%. And then I'll just kind of brush around and kind of clean it up so it's not as harsh. So it's just kind of lightly there. Something like that. And then I'll change the opacity roughly to about 20% or 30%, something like that. And then I'll go into the next layer and make sure to have the layers subsequent with one another. So meaning the highlight should be at the very top, the middle of the eye should be below that, and then this wider, like lighter part at the bottom here is going to be on top of the black as well. So this we'll call the inner eye. And then I'll just take a brush and I'll just add, make sure you're on the brush. Then I'll just brush the inside here. And again, it does not have to be perfect. You can always adjust it later. And then I'll select darken. And then I will set this to about 20%. Yeah. And then I will work on the bottom parts, making sure that the white is selected. You can hit X on your keyboard or just select this little arrow thing here. And then I will brush this part of the eye. And then I will select that to be either overlay or soft light. And I'll decrease this quite a bit. So I'll go over like 20%. And then I sometimes use the eraser tool and erase from the outer edges just a bit. So it's still creating a bit of depth there. So between the high pass, the contour, and those little 3 layers, the eyes instantly become that much brighter. Just 3 simple layers can completely transform your dog's eyes and make them stand out in the best way possible. If you found this helpful, leave a comment below and tell me what you'd like to learn next.